In 2019, a radio astronomer named Anna Kopinska was staring at data from deep space when she saw something that defied categorization. It wasn't a star, it wasn't a galaxy, it was a ghostly ring of smoke, a glowing oddity of radio waves suspended in the void. It didn't match any known supernova remnant. It didn't fit the profile for a galactic collision. She grabbed a pen and wrote a 3-letter note on the side of the image, WTF. She didn't know it yet, but she had just stumbled upon a mystery that would force us to question the violence of the universe. But she wasn't alone. Deep in the archives of radio astronomy, other ghosts were waiting to be found. Signals that tick like clockwork when they should be dead. Beams of energy that have been washing over Earth for decades while we remained oblivious. We like to think we have the universe mapped out. We have our standard models, our life cycles of stars, our understanding of physics. But every now and then, the cosmos throws something at us that simply shouldn't exist. Today, we are going into the dark to look at the anomalies, the objects that are too big, too slow, or too strange to be real, and yet, there they are. The first crack in our understanding appeared with that note, WTF. What Kopinska had found was eventually named an odd radio circle, or ORC. And odd is an understatement. These aren't just bubbles of gas, they are colossi. Initial estimates suggested these rings were 1 million light years across. Newer data suggests some might be double that. To put that in perspective, that is 20 times the width of our entire Milky Way galaxy. Imagine a ring of energy so vast it could swallow 20 galaxies side by side, floating quietly in the deep cosmos. Since that first discovery, we've found only a handful more. They are elusive, ghost-like. You can't see them with optical telescopes. They only reveal themselves in the radio spectrum. And the deeper we look, the stranger they get. Take the cloverleaf ORC. It isn't a perfect ring. It's a warped, messy structure stretching over 300,000 light years. When astronomers looked at it with X-ray vision, they realized this wasn't just a static object. It was a crime scene. The cloverleaf appears to be the aftermath of a galactic collision, a messy merger of galaxy groups that created shock waves so powerful they sculpted a bubble of radio emissions that has lasted for eons. But what created the perfect rings? The leading theories are terrifying in their scale. One hypothesis suggests we are looking at the result of a merger between two supermassive black holes, a cataclysm so violent it sent a shockwave rippling through the intergalactic medium, accelerating electrons into a frenzy that we see as a glowing ring billions of years later. Another theory is a starburst termination shock. Imagine a galaxy undergoing a baby boom, birthing millions of stars in a cosmic blink of an eye. These stars scream out, solar winds combining into a super wind that pushes gas out for millions of years, inflating a bubble of energy that dwarfs the galaxy that created it. We still don't know for sure. All we know is that something in the dark is blowing smoke rings the size of galaxy clusters. And just as we started to grapple with these monsters of space, another mystery emerged, this time challenging our concept of time. If an ORC is a spatial anomaly, something too big to explain, then our next mystery is a temporal one, a heartbeat that shouldn't be beating. In 2022, astronomers found a radio signal arriving at Earth. It was a pulse, a distinct sharp blast of radio waves. It lasted anywhere from 30 seconds to 5 minutes, and then silence. 22 minutes later, it came back. Repeating radio signals aren't new. We usually attribute them to pulsars, neutron stars, the dense cores of dead suns that spin rapidly, sweeping a beam of radiation across the cosmos like a lighthouse. But pulsars are fast. They spin every second, or even hundreds of times a second. A pulsar that spins once every 22 minutes is impossible. According to our understanding of physics, a neutron star spinning that slowly shouldn't have enough energy to produce radio waves. It falls into what astronomers call the death valley, a state where the star's magnetic field and rotation are too weak to power the beam. It should be dark, it should be silent. Yet, when researchers looked back through archival data, they found something chilling. This object, named GPMJ 183910, hasn't just been pinging us recently. It has been sending this signal like clockwork since at least 1988. For over 30 years, this zombie star has been screaming into the void, violating the laws of stellar physics every 22 minutes. Is it a magnetar, a neutron star with a magnetic field so intense it twists the fabric of reality? Maybe, but magnetars typically only release bursts like this during Starquakes, temporary cataclysms that last a few years. This thing has been stable for decades. It sits 15,000 light years away, spinning slowly, mocking our models of the universe. It is a reminder that there are engines out there running on physics we haven't even written down yet. And this brings us to the inevitable question. If we see giant engineered-looking rings and we hear mathematical repeating signals, at what point do we stop looking at nature and start looking for someone? The Fermi paradox asks a simple question. If the universe is billions of years old and there are billions of planets, where is everybody? We have listened. Oh, have we listened? In 1977, the Big Ear telescope picked up a signal so intense and so perfect that the astronomer watching the printout circled it and wrote, "Wow." The wow signal lasted 72 seconds. It rose and fell perfectly, matching the profile of a transmitter sweeping past Earth. It was loud, it was narrowband, and it came from the constellation Sagittarius. We turned our telescopes back to that spot immediately. We have listened to that silence for nearly 50 years. It never repeated, not once. Was it a passing comet? A glitch? Or was it a single, lonely hello from a civilization that has long since faded away? More recently, we found BLC-1, a signal coming from Proxima Centauri, our nearest stellar neighbor. It looked artificial. It drifted in frequency just like a transmitter on a rotating planet would. For a brief moment, the scientific community held its breath. It was the strongest candidate for alien contact in a generation. But then, the letdown. Further analysis suggested it was likely interference. Human technology echoing back at us, masquerading as a message from the stars. It seems the universe is filled with red herrings. We want to find life so badly that we see it in every shadow. But sometimes, the natural explanation is even stranger than aliens. Consider the case of the antimatter factory. For years, detectors on Earth and aboard the International Space Station picked up something alarming. We were being bombarded by positrons, antimatter particles. They were hitting our atmosphere in numbers that natural radioactive decay couldn't explain. It looked like something nearby was churning out antimatter and firing it at us. For decades, the culprit hid in plain sight. In the constellation Gemini, there was a gamma ray source named Geminga. It was discovered in the 70s, but it was just a haze. It had no radio pulse, no nebula. It was a ghost. It wasn't until we looked at with better eyes, with X-ray telescopes, that we saw the truth. Geminga wasn't silent. It was moving. It is a pulsar, but one that is racing through the galaxy at nearly 210 kilometers per second. It is moving so fast that it creates a shockwave in the interstellar medium, a bow wave like a boat crashing through the ocean. But this wake isn't water, it's high energy electrons and positrons trapped in a magnetic frenzy. We finally realized that Geminga is surrounded by a massive halo of gamma rays, invisible to the naked eye, but covering a patch of sky 40 times larger than the full moon. If you could see in gamma rays, this invisible object would dominate the night sky. It turns out this single racing dead star is responsible for perhaps 20% of the antimatter hitting Earth. It wasn't aliens, it wasn't a glitch. It was a lighthouse of death, closer than we thought, bathing our solar system in the exhaust fumes of its journey. So where does that leave us? We have rings the size of galaxy clusters that we can't explain. We have a star that beats every 22 minutes when it should be dead. We have signals that scream hello and then vanish forever. And we have invisible halos of antimatter governing our skies. The more we refine our tools, the less the universe makes sense. And that is the most exciting part. These anomalies, the WTF moments, the odd radio circles, the impossible signals, they aren't failures of science. They are the breadcrumbs. They are the clues that our current map of reality is incomplete. We are standing on the shore of a cosmic ocean, and we have only just dipped our toes in. The things we have found so far are likely the mundane ones. The truly strange things, they are still waiting in the noise, waiting for someone curious enough to notice them. If you want to be part of that discovery, if you want to understand the universe that is hiding in plain sight, you know what to do. Subscribe and join us as we continue to peel back the layers of the dark, because the only thing scarier than what we've found is what we haven't found yet.